Okay, today's going to be bath day. As I work on this thing, I'm tired of being really dirty. So we're gonna get out the power washer. We're gonna power wash this today. Before I power wash everything, I decided to clean out the bin here on the side. It was just chock-a-block full of dirt, nests, stuff. So I categorized it into three things: pure trash, parts that were still kind of shiny and good, and junk. And these junk nuts and bolts and screws, the only reason I kept this stuff is I'm going to run a little experiment. I want to play with this stuff. I've never tried removing rust with electrolysis. I've seen people do it on the internet, and I want to try it. So I think this is great stuff to do it with. We'll throw it in there. I don't really care if I save any of this stuff or not. Well, I shouldn't say that. Things like this mounting bracket I do want. But nuts and bolts and screws, generally, I wouldn't reuse any of these anyway. I just want to see how that process works and how good it looks. And then I categorize things into things that look basically brand new, which I pulled out. A ton of split ring lock washers that look good in there. Some brand new looking fittings. The big fittings down there I just bought, so those are actually mine. But interestingly, as I dug around, previous owner was kind enough to give me one of these. He had one. But as I dug around the junk in the bottom of that bin, buried in the dirt, was the tool for the John Deere Specialty Zerks. So now I have two of them. But that's what that is. That you put it over and then you can grease it. So now I have two. I bet he didn't even know that was in there. So let me get the boxes out of the way, fire up the power washer, and get this thing cleaned up. When I'm done, I am gonna at least hit this with rust converter and primer, if not John Deere yellow on the bottom. We're gonna protect it. Same thing with these lines. None of these are leaking, but they are looking a bit corroded. I'm really worried about this one right here. It's not leaking right now, so let's at least get some protective coating on it, and hopefully it stays that way. Okay, let me get at it. All right, a little bit of my power washing goes a long way. Didn't think anybody cared to just sit here and watch me do it. I know some people like watching that. I don't know why. Anyway, so it certainly doesn't look new, but for me, the fact that I got all that surface grease and gunk off this will make it a lot nicer to work on. The goal certainly wasn't to make this thing look any different, just to get the dirt off of it. So that's mission accomplished. I got that all sprayed out. There's a heck of a layer of oil in there. I don't know whether anything is going to adhere to that without me hitting this up with some serious degreaser, which I may have to do before I try and paint that. For now, I just wanted to get it cleaned out. That may actually suffice. Oil's probably actually been protecting it. I know I don't have a before of what this looked like in here. This was atrociously packed with stuff in here. I mean, it was caked this thick with dirt and old oil and who knows what. Anyway, so I went ahead and cleaned this all out. That'll make it a lot more pleasant when I get ready to run my lines for the 4-in-1. They need to come in here. You can see what the original color was. But the 4-in-1 lines are going to run right through here. I opted to step it down from 3/4 line. It's going to be 3/4 fittings, but I opted to step it down from 3/4 line down to 5/8 line. I took a couple of 5/8s I had, and they fit through this hole. The 2 3/4 I couldn't get through there, so we're going to go to 5/8 with 3/4 ends. Which, the more I look at these hoses, I think that's actually what these are. I'm replacing with 3/4 like I did on the other side, but in retrospect, I could have done that with 5/8, I think. So anyway, the lines will come out here. They come up here, and then they track down technically to the outside of the arm here underneath. They go up above and then they run down underneath here and then go over to the 4-in-1. I can't see, and everyone that the stock ones that I've seen that came with 4-in-1 they ran hardline out here that did exactly the routing I just said. And they had a plate that they ran under, a protection plate they ran under here, and then they went to the center and connected. And I guess 2 owners ago claimed that this had a 4-in-1, that they scrapped the bucket and put this one on it. I can't find any evidence whatsoever that this ever had a 4-in-1 on the front. I took for sizing, I took the plugs out of the expansion, and from what I could tell on the paint, when I took them out, they'd never been out. So I don't think this. I think whoever said this had a 4-in-1 that got scrapped was wrong. Maybe they had a different bucket that got scrapped, but I certainly don't think it was a 4-in-1. From what I can tell, I don't see any anchor points. I don't see any holes. I don't see anything where there were on either side where there was ever lines run down there. So I don't think this ever had a 4-in-1. It has the valve for it, but that was a standard valve you got with this thing, from what I could tell, because it can run implements in the rear, it can run implements in the front, but I don't think it's ever actually been used, from what I can tell. So it's going to get used now. Looking forward to it. I just got my notice that my lines will be in tomorrow, so that means we will be putting, hopefully, the 4-in-1 on this weekend. Certainly hope so. Looking forward to it. I don't know if I posted this in a prior video, but I did find in the stuff the previous owner gave me, I found that bracket that holds these lines. He did give it to me with a bunch of spare parts. I'm thrilled about that. So now I've got this thing set the way it's supposed to. I didn't have to end up making one. So these seem to go where they need to go. One thing I'm still in search of, looks like I don't have any hood here. I can feel the places for the hood latches, but I don't have any hood latches. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. So this hood it's just sitting on there right now. It's not really latched down, and I'd like to get that latched down. I will probably put the covers back on this before I hit the woods with it. Well, it's nice to know what's going on inside this engine. Last thing I need is a tree branch to go in there and ruin my day. So I will probably do that. Get them back on there. What else? I gotta get my Zerks in. I bought Zerks for the other side for these. And to get those in, I'm going to tighten this track up. This one still hasn't completely loosened up, but you can see it's a little wavy. It just needs a little bit of use, and that'll straighten out. The other side is considerably more worn in, and I think that's a little loose. I'm gonna tighten that up a few squirts of grease, and I think it's supposed to have 1 inch to 1.5 inches in play, and I'm guessing that's 2.5 to 3. So we're gonna tighten these up a little bit. So that's the plan. Got my weekend workout out for me. All right, it's getting late in the day. I'm going to be getting out of here shortly, but I wanted to get ready to do some track adjusting. Check the operator manual. Need to make sure you've got a pin lined up over the idler. I've got that pretty close. It's not perfect, but I got it pretty close. It's hard to get that precise. But this is supposed to be between 7/8 and 1/8 of an inch, and I'd say I'm quite a bit more than that. So I'm going to be tightening up this track. I'll get the grease gun out, and we'll start tightening this up until I get it to within closer to 1 inch, and take it from there. I need to repeat this on the other side. However, the other side's going to be a bit of a challenge. I know it needs some tightening, but this track, each one of these track bushings is kind of sticky, and you can see the track's kind of rumply. I'm told that with use that will loosen up and they'll lay like the other side, but kind of makes it a challenge to when I'm trying to get this thing to lay down so I can adjust it. I may come out with a hammer and maybe see if I can't get those things to lay flat, so I have some idea of what's going on with this track. I think this side's probably pretty loose as a result. This side actually has an idler right where I need it. So, okay, that's probably going to be later this weekend. I just wanted to see what I got to do. Well, I was going to wait till later in the weekend to do this, but I can't help myself. I want to just see how this is going to work. I know this track needs at least some tension. And I've put a few pumps of grease in here already. Let's see if we can get this track to move. Tighten up at all. Come on. There we go. Now I'm on there. Oh, come on now. There we go. There we go. I hear it clicking, so I know it's moving a little. Oh yeah, it's moving good now. So, since I don't know the state of the track here, I'm just going to keep doing this a little bit at a time until this thing finally loosens up. Could probably go a little bit more on that. It's definitely not fully tight. And per the service manual, I was going to do this with my DeWalt, but it says do not do this with anything that can go above 10,000 psi. So they basically, they're telling you this by hand. I'm watching this track straighten out. I wonder if this is what's needed to get all these kinks out of this track. Just tighten it up some. All right, so that's just more of that until I get done.